attempting to bend conduit yourself, you could still be very, very frustrated because I haven't talked to you about when you subtract 5, when you subtract 6, when you subtract 8. This area is near and dear to my heart, and let me tell you why. 6 blocks north is where Jefferson Electric was originally founded. That is the Need Hammer, built in 1901. If you want a quick tour of 122-year-old electrical slate switchboards, click on this video here. And this is Ash and Elm Cider Company. They're dominating the craft cider competition in the state of Indiana. And this was the former facility for Jefferson Electric. But now, let's head inside and meet the current owner, Brandon. Oh, hey, and this video and the ability to showcase small business like this was brought to you by the generosity of Span.
So about me, I've been a barber for 10 years now. Goldie has always been different names, different functions, but been a part of the whole story for me with barbering. In February of 2020, so right before the pandemic really hit, I was in New York talking to a chemist, and we developed, or got a game plan, I guess, set for all the products we wanted to start with. 2 weeks later, everything shut down. So that was on hold for a while.
So here's the layout of what we're gonna do today. I've got 2 electrical panels right here. These are 120, 208 volt electrical 3-phase panels, plenty of juice. 200 amps being fed from a 400 amp service outside. We're gonna exit via this conduit. We're gonna hit the J-box, run all the way down through the provisional conduit that was already installed about 2 years ago, J-box 2, J-box 3, and then all the way down here where Brandon is expanding his product production in a controlled, clean environment. Brandon has laid out outlets all along the wall at the height and location of choice. We're going to be installing a double duplex, also known as quad, and because Brandon and I had a chance to walk through and sync up expectations, at this point, I think we have a very high likelihood for a very satisfied customer because expectations are 80% of outcomes. And that will sit right on top of that.
And then we're running MC to the...
Yep, we're zip tying the MC up real tight across the bar joists. And we're missing a LB cover there, which would be nice to get on. That's the only loose end I'm aware of right now.
Is it code compliant to have wiring going across the spaces?
Yeah.
Nothing gets by me.
And then the other thing is that camera, if we want to drop it down to where it makes sense.
It's hidden there.
It's actually, you know what, he doesn't have access to view it. Let's leave it. That's another thing. Another day, another thing.
So we're moving the tables and bins out of the way so that we can access our outlet locations more easily throughout the job. So we will probably find a height that's good. We'll figure out what this distance is here to the bottom, and then we'll match that on all of the rest of them so that they're all the same height. We'll just go ahead and screw in all those boxes just to make it easy. Have that portion done. Probably the easiest thing to do would be to take a piece of conduit and have somebody hold it up against that beam.
Okay.
And then put a level on it so that we know where to come down to hit each of these, so that we don't go, oh yeah, I think it's about right here, and then we end up doing it and we have to either put a bend in it or it's gonna be. So let's set up this 10-foot ladder on the other side of the wall, and I'll have you hold the conduit and I'll mark.
Sounds good.
I'm gonna get this height real quick. For 73 to bottom.
Going to the bottom of this beam?
Put it to the side.
The side?
Yeah.
And up to the roof, or?
No, it just needs to touch the side. Can you bring it this way?
What's that?
Bring it this way. Yeah. Mark this with pencil. Okay. Move down to the next one. So this one's going to be in the middle of this space. So we're moving it over to over here and not doing that one there. So Alec is a new hire, and so he does not have a lot of electrical experience. So I'm just showing him what to do today, and he'll just learn through today the next couple of years, and then he'll be able to do this stuff on his own. I've marked the bottom of the box.
Okay.
There's 2 marks there. Those are going to be where you want the center of your box to be lined up with, so that the conduit, we're probably only going to do 2 screws, but you want the conduit to line up there.
Yeah.
So it's just coming out of the middle of the box.
Makes sense.
And then just make sure that's the bottom of the box, and then they'll all be the same height. Take that tape off before, just move it to the side so that we know that this one's dedicated. But yeah.
Sounds good. Is there an up and down, top and bottom on that box?
It would be best to have this screw as far away from the entry point as possible, so that we're not having to loop. This is for the ground wire.
Yep.
We don't have to loop it like right next to where it enters.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then we also want the small knockout facing up.
Sure.
Every other side's different. We don't want this one being face up.
Yeah. Okay.
Good questions.
You think just 2 screws is fine?
Yeah. Okay. This is OSB behind here, so it's going to be super tight.
Okay.
We probably want to use the shorter screws.
Shorter ones?
These ones have a non-threaded portion there, and this may not be thick enough that we get to that non-threaded portion and it's not going to bite at all.
Sure.
If there's not non-threaded ones on the cart,
There's just some. Those
I have other ones in my stuff box.
Guys, I want to show you one thing. I've made a transition. My kids are like, you don't love mom. No, it's a silicone ring. It's safer, it's smart, it's so comfortable. The callus is starting to fade away on the palm of my hand from work and pull-ups and everything else, but it looks almost just like a real wedding ring. So I'm gonna drop a link in the description for my new favorite silicone band, and my kids will be okay and my marriage is fine. So Alec, yeah, spin that on there. Put your finger through the lock nut and into the connector, and that is your guide to keep it there, and then spin it with your thumb and your forefinger, and you can turn the top fitting to help it grab, which is your friend. Boom, boom, that's it.
Cool.
And then you tighten it all the way up, a quarter turn from where it's gonna land. So, yep. Now tighten it as far as you can by hand, and then take your adjustable channel locks, once it's fully hand tight, and give it that last quarter turn so you're on top actually. So your fastener is straight out, nice and sharp. Yep, good job grabbing the fitting. Yep, not tight enough. Sometimes it will do that and won't grab, so turn it back, get it tighter on there by hand. And then once it's good and snug, hold the lock nut in place, don't let it move on you, it's okay. And bring it home, want it to, everything to be wrench tight.
Yeah.
Boom, nailed it.
Cool.
The guys are ready for conduit, so it's time to jump right in the deep end. Take my Klein tape, I'm gonna hook it on the beam. I've already got my fitting in because I'm actually gonna account for that. The fitting has got about 3/4 inch of depth, so that's my latitude. I'm at 91 3/8. 91 1/2 to the box. I'm gonna call it 3/8 because of the fitting and the shoulder. 91 3/8 is what I need my 90 to be at. So let's have a little fun bending conduit. Okay, so we're gonna put a 90 on the end of our conduit, and it's gonna be real straightforward. 91 1/2 inches. It's right there. We're confident that that measurement is accurate, so I'll go ahead and mark yours up for you as well. Okay. Match up the ends, carry the dimension over. Sharpie Industrial, our fave. If you haven't seen that video, click here. And now it's time to put just one true 90 with this south wire 1/2" bender. Slip it in the groove. There are a couple of tricks here. One, we've got the 91.5 as the maximum, as the final center line of the pipe. So I'm going to line it up with the mark that's provided on the conduit bender. A little tick mark there. And then the secret is heavy foot pressure or it'll kink. So you just put the heel of your boot right there, maintain that pressure. I like to, just because it helps me keep balance, hold on to everything, spread your legs out, and just finish that bend till it's straight up and down. If you've got a flat floor, you can put your level here to verify it and your level there. Just a tick more. 1/2" EMT is pretty forgiving and it's quite easy. It doesn't take a lot of muscle. So let's just set that in place. And if it's good, then you get to try it.
All right.
Here you go, Cliff. Tell me what that looks like. Go ahead and pull it out of there for a sec. Coming in. There it is. I'm fully seated down here. Good to you. All right, Alec, your turn. And it'll deflect back a little bit, so you almost have to overbend just slightly.
Okay.
You like that?
Looking okay.
Let's put a level on it. A little bit more.
Yep.
Boom. Nailed it. On the money.
Cool.
Let's test it. Sling it up there. See what you got.
Nice and filthy up the window.
Because it'll fight you, go ahead and slide it into fitting on top of the box first.
Sure.
And then swing it into your mini. Boom. New guy nailed it! Go work.
Oh, but you want the sticker to be facing the other way.
Oh, the sticker is the wrong way! That was good. That was good. That was good.
It is actual, not for the sticker, but on other conduit, there is like black writing on it that we do want facing away from visibility as much as possible.
Yeah, keeps it a little cleaner.
But
The sticker
this
will
is-
be above the ceiling.
Okay.
In the ceiling.
Above, yeah, or in, yeah.
Take this down.
Yep, good work. All right, we've got a 90 with a kick. And after watching this video, you attempting to bend conduit yourself, you could still be very, very frustrated because I haven't talked to you about when you subtract 5, when you subtract 6, when you subtract 8. But on the other hand, it's pretty intuitive. So, all right, 92, that's our 90. I'm gonna go ahead and bend that up, just like we did the previous, but this time we're gonna have what's called a kick. So I'm not subtracting anything, I'm putting my mark right on it, keep my pressure. Right there. All right, now I need my kick. So let's just lay it down right here. Get rid of that tape measure. This is where the folding rule is beautiful. Folding rule. All right. Here. More than one way to accomplish this. More than one way. You have to make sure when you're doing your kick that your bender is out of your curve. Because one, when it's already been bent, it's going to attempt to kink. And two, you're not going to get a true kick. You'll get a dog leg. So I'm going to slide my bender down just a tick. I've got a true horizontal with pipe laying on the floor, just 3/8 of an inch off over here. Good pressure, and I'm bringing my kick up to 2 inches to the bottom of the pipe. See if we got it. All right, so I'm a little long, and I knew it was going to end up a little long because I did 92, not 91 and a half. The difference here is I was going to lose a little bit of dimension on that kick. A very little bit, but I didn't want to come up short. So I'm going to whack off about 3/8 half inch right here on this end of the conduit. It's going to be gorgeous. Sure. You see what that kick does for me is it allows my conduit to be in a true vertical while offsetting towards the bottom chord of the bar joist. And my conduit ends up just far enough off the bar joist to accommodate beam clamp plus mini. So this fitting right here is a transitional piece, EMT, rigid coupling, MC connector. If you've got a fitting or a sequence of fittings you like to use for that, let us know. Yeah, so what we realized is it's a sloped, low slope commercial roof. So our measurement that was good on the first one, now it needs to be trimmed and customized to adjust for all the rest of these because the roof drains, I think it drains that, no, it drains that way. But it changes as we move here. So low slope commercial roof.
I think in June 2020, we got our first round of samples in, started testing them out on our clients, working with that. And then in February of 2021, we launched Goldie. Goldie is named after my grandma, who passed away a few years ago. Just wanted to do something to honor her. Wanted to have a name that meant something to me that didn't just sound cool. And then a year later, we are here. We have a warehouse space. We just started manufacturing the product ourselves. So that's been really fun. Yeah, we're in the process now of building our little sanitation clean room for the product line, and then got our warehouse and our shipping areas and all that stuff building. So it's been fun, but yeah. A year in, I didn't think it'd be this far. It's been pretty crazy.
So Jefferson Electric occupied this space for 6 years. This was where we experienced the most growth. We went from about 12 team members when we moved into 3,000 square feet. Then we expanded into this 1,800, so we had a total of 5. And we grew to, we had a 40-foot shipping container out back to accommodate, you know, essentially the rest of our facility. And when we moved out of here, we had about 46 team members over the course of 6 years. So that's a lot of good things happened here. A lot of catalytic converters got stolen. A lot of vehicles were vandalized. It's a rough neighborhood, but the price was right. And now it's going up. All right, we're making progress, people. Take a look. We're just gonna put the grounds together under a nice ideal tan wire net. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Lever nuts are cool too. It's time to terminate el conductors. And we've already prefabbed them together, so that's handy. Number 1 square drive. Best, ooh, I'm gonna trim that down a little bit. I don't want any exposed conductors, you know. Capture that so it doesn't goof up our customer's clean room. Exposed hot conductor, even though the whole side terminal is hot, like all this, right? Okay. So I've done a little prefab. That's good to go. We'll bring our neutral over here to the other side and put it in the available terminal.
No, probably not.
There's that. And now we tuck. Tuck knot stuff is the goal here. We're doing grounds on the bottom. We've got some diehards out there with grounds, you know, they always want the grounds on the top. That's not code, that's preference. And we're gonna match what's already in the space. All right. So that's where those are gonna sit. And we've got a cover. The temptation here is just to put one screw through the faceplate into the receptacle. That'd be a shortcut. I have taken off, it's not code compliant. I have taken off my gloves to do the more detailed work because these little nuts on the back side are a little bit time consuming. Got a speed driver. You know what this is? It's a speed screwdriver. That smaller diameter allows for more rapid turns. It's really just just the shaft of my Klein multi-tool, but it's fast. And so it's just a little side tip there. All right, the last step here is pull the wire, home runs all the way back to the panel, terminate the breakers, test, shop vac, moving on. This is the last conduit, and it's gonna be a little bit different than the others. So let me show you what we've got going on here. All right, see we're gonna 90 up, and then we've got a 90 over, but that is too close. So I'm gonna shorten up this pipe and make up the delta. Here's a handy way. Take your lineman's, it'll do an inside out ream, and just spin it around the conduit. And then if you can't run your finger through there, it's not smooth enough, but that is. The reason to ream the outside is not for protecting the wire, it's for being able to get it into the fitting. If you don't ream the outside and you end up with some big burrs, then you'll just fight it all the way in, and you might deflect a burr to the inside where it then compromises the wire. Okay, so I took off 6 inches. My mini is gonna stand 1 inch off the beam, and my second piece of conduit is gonna provide 5-inch bending radius. And that 5-inch bending radius is specific to 1/2 inch EMT. 3/4 inch for 6 inch, 6 inch for 3/4 inch EMT. And let me show you what I mean. So this bending radius of the bender and the 1/2 inch EMT is 5 inches. So when I stub my EMT flush with the end of the bender and I give it a 90-degree bend, that's gonna add 5 inches. And that's exactly what I want to land right on the beam with a proper offset for a mini. Let's see if that works. In fact, I don't need or want this entire length of conduit, so I'm gonna cut it right here. Arbitrary dimension. Okay, we're top side, installing our beam clamp. Just a couple simple twists here, and these things are set in place. If you're doing production work, there are other kinds of fasteners that would be more advantageous. But for this, beautiful. Simple, predictable, inexpensive. All right, mini's tight. Moment of truth. See if our concept of a bend works out here. Oh man, seems great. I'm gonna snug this up so I don't lose it, and then put a level on it. Take a 1/2 step back and see if that worked out. It's resting right there in the mini. All right, is this vertical? Because that's where I've got the most play. And the answer to that question is almost. Okay, we got it. That's it. Tighten up my mini. Tom Corey, you want to be the eyeball?
Sure.
And what I'd like you to eyeball is this against the lines of the deck. The National Electrical Code, Article 358, governs the installation of EMT. That's a non-threaded thin wall conduit. EMT stands for electrical metallic tubing. You've got to have it supported and firmly secured within 3 feet of every termination. That would be within 3 feet of this box. And then you can go up to 10 feet in length between supports. When EMT is fished through voids, unbroken lengths of EMT can be unsupported per the code. EMT is suitable for interior and exterior use as long as the appropriate fittings are used to prevent corrosion and water infiltration. EMT is permitted for cinder fill and direct concrete burial, again, as long as concrete tight fittings are used. And EMT is one of the most cost-effective and polished finishes that you can obtain in electrical conduit. Hey, so if you're a landlord and you've got a situation like me, multiple tenants sharing a single utility meter, you've got no insights, you've got no data, you don't know who's drawing what energy, right? Let's say you get surprised by a massive utility bill at the end of the month. Well, that could have been prevented. Back it up a few steps. You know, when the garage door's open and the AC's cranking at the peak of summer and that cool air's just flowing right out the back door, you don't know what the financial impact, you don't know what the energy impact is. You've got no control. You've got no insight. For you Airbnb hosts out there, for you residential landlords, might have a solution for you. SPAN is a smart electrical panel. Although it's not compatible with three-phase commercial systems, it's the central component of the energy ecosystem for the modern home. You've got the ability to monitor and control everything. Let's say your hot tub, that uses a few $1,000s of electricity every year. Your guests have left the Airbnb. You're out of state. Boom, shut down the hot tub, save that energy. There's an ROI on that. Massive impact. It's smart, it's right, it's forward thinking, and let's get back to the video. So you might be asking, what's all this stuff? What's going on here? Why is there a meter inside? That's no longer permitted by the utility company. You're absolutely right. You see, we had a guy, and he was back in his trailer in here at night, and the trailer had been specifically built for bird and lime scooters. See, he was a dealer. He'd do the nighttime pickups, and then he would come in before this router equipment was in the way, and he would take these nice SJO cords, peel them out, dedicated circuits, and we made him GFCI for him because he, a lot of times it'd come in wet, right? So we wanted to have a safety measure there. Plug in line bikes, power strips, whatever the heck, and we'd just rent this bay. He'd be last one in at night, first one out in the morning, and that's what that was for. So now we got a bunch of extra power, and I've got a mess on the floor, but we'll leave him for now. Let's pull all the covers off and see what we have. One thing you'll notice with 10 screws to do, I'm using a driver, but thankfully, no, it's not. This one's quote unquote upside down, so it will not hold itself on there. You've got to apply some pressure, pull it off, see what we have. Let's see. Power for this panel is routed through this meter, so we could get a sense as to how much energy it was taken to charge these things, and then all the SJO cords and circuits are coming off right here. But some stuff has been added over time. The rooftop AC unit and the furnace or air handler in here, because that's no longer a thing. We don't care what that reads. So here we are at the electrical boxes. We've got 9 circuits going up our existing conduit. So if we go up the conduit, we'll come to the first 12 by 12 J box. All 9 circuits are here, heading to the left, down the main conduit, all the way to the end, where I'm located. Circuits drop off here and there, but there still are plenty of spares that we'll be able to utilize for our project. We did that a long time ago, and today it's going to come in real handy. What I don't like about the wire management is you can't tell which phase conductors are with which neutrals. So we're going to clean that up. We've got some missing labels in the panel from various work that's been done here and there. And because this is a 3-phase electrical panel, as long as we use the right breakers and follow the rules, we can share 3 phase conductors with 1 neutral without overloading it. So I'm at junction box 2. Cliff started down there and now he's down here, and we've traced out the wires and we've got them into nice clean groupings. That we've made those groupings up with zip ties. That'll be durable in an environment like this. EMT Conduit is rated to be the equipment grounding conductor. That means you don't have to pull a ground wire. You can use the pipe as long as it's installed within parameters. However, we've got a bunch of metallic equipment. We've got potential for computers and so on and so forth. And so we always pull a ground wire. Very few exceptions to that. We always pull a ground wire. 1 ground wire, size to the largest circuit, is sufficient through any type of conduit. PVC, EMT, that rule is always the same. So we've got a single number 10 ground wire being pulled through here. And these conductors have been upsized to number 10 in order to handle the D rates, and D rates cause a reduced ampacity, allowable ampacity. And so they were installed as number 10 just as a safe measure. So I think we're done here. All our spare circuits are down there. We need 4 for the build out today, and rocking and rolling, moving on. I'm reworking the ground. Let's try our Kaiweeds friend here. Nice clean cut. All right, stick it in there. A bit more. Okay, okay. Okay, I'm moving the ground that's coming from the top up 1, so I can put the ground that's coming from the bottom below it so they're not crisscrossing. It's a little pedantic, but I'm gonna go with it.
We're in junction box 3, where we're tying in all of our home runs with the MC into the home runs going back to the panel here. I'm gonna drill 3 holes in the top of this box so we can land the MC inside this box. We'll use two barrel connectors and 1 single barrel connector to get the 5 wires inside this box.
So what we do is, this is 6 feet. You just stretch it out hand to hand. And so I do 1 15-foot length and 3 10-foot lengths. And you can cut them and you can strip almost, you know, the span of your hand, which is about 9 inches, off the end of each and every one.
Both sides?
Yes.
Okay, 1 15-inch, 1 10-foot?
1 15-foot, 2 10-foot, strip all the ends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should I use a ruler or?
No, I would just use the span of your arms for 6 feet.
6 feet?
Yeah. It's as tall as you are tall. Do you know that the span of your arms is longer than you are tall? You knew that. Yes.
Yeah.
For most people. Here, let's see. Let's see. What's your height?
I'm like
electrician
5'10".
math right here. Okay.
Maybe 5'11".
Yeah. Okay. I'm getting a solid 5'10" out of you.
Okay.
And now span your hands. Oh, you're identical. 70, actually a 1/4 inch longer that way. Yeah. So that's electrician math right there. Know your span, both of your hand and the wings.
So this is our media kit box that we send out to, you know, give samples and then send to different news press, things like that. Again, this kind of falls into the whole 70s vibe. We use our big sun logo, and then a lot of loose, swirly type things. You open the box up, kind of have our mottos in there. Made in America. All of our packaging is made from glass and recyclable materials. Made in the United States, here in Indianapolis. This is kind of where all of our bottles and jars would sit inside, naming off what each product is. We have pomades, we have lightweight hair creams, we have sea salt sprays, moving into beard products in the next few months. Our goal was to make Goldie make you feel better about yourself. We wanted to uplift people as they use our hair products. It's the classic, you know, you get a haircut, you feel good about yourself, makes for a good week. So as a barber, that was really important for me to getting into the industry. Wanted to do something to help people, uplift them, give them a reason to want to get out of bed.
Okay, so I'm wrapping up the switch leg and switch. Cliff's wrapped up the J boxes and terminations. Alec has done wire management. Tim has done cleanup. We're almost out of here today. As soon as we energize circuits, we'll confirm and label the panel. Cha-ching! And the Wig Lab is coming to completion. Hey, it's a wrap! And subscribe to Electric Pro Academy for real skills to make real money.